Dr. Lisa Martinez wiped the sweat from her forehead as she worked on her patient. The small alien child lay on the medical table, breathing slowly. His skin had turned a sick yellow color, and his webbed hands shook with fever. Lisa had been working for 12 hours straight, but she would not give up. "Doctor, you need to rest," said Jake Thompson. The combat medic stood beside her, holding medical tools. His face showed worry. "You have been working all day." Lisa shook her head. "Not until this little one is safe." She looked at the Zephyrian child. The alien race looked like humans mixed with frogs. They had large eyes and could breathe both air and water. Right now, this child could barely breathe at all. The plague had hit the Zephyrian colonies hard. It started 3 weeks ago on their homeworld in the Kepler 442 system. The disease spread fast. It attacked the lungs first, then the heart. Without help, most patients died within days. That was why Earth had sent the UE Sanctuary. The medical ship carried the best doctors and nurses from Earth. They came to help, not for money or politics, but because it was right. "How many more patients do we have?" Lisa asked. Dr. Amy Carter looked up from her computer. The young scientist had been studying the plague day and night. 200 in the main ward, 50 more coming from the planet's surface. She pushed her glasses up her nose. "The good news is that our treatment is working. The death rate has dropped to 10%. Jake smiled. 10% is much better than 90%. Amy nodded. The Zephyrians are responding well to human medicine. Their biology is similar enough to ours that our drugs work on them. Lisa felt relief wash over her. When they first arrived, the Zephyrian doctors had lost hope. They had tried everything they knew, but nothing worked. The Earth medical team had brought new ideas and new medicines. Now, aliens who would have died were getting better. A soft chime came from the communication system. Commander Ryan Burke's voice filled the medical bay. "All medical staff, please report to briefing room." 3. We have important news. Lisa looked at her patient. The child's breathing was getting stronger. His yellow skin was starting to return to its normal green color. "Jake, can you watch him?" "I will be right back." "Of course, doctor." Lisa walked through the corridors of the UES Sanctuary. The ship was built for one purpose: saving lives. Every room was a medical facility. Surgery rooms, recovery wards, research labs, and medicine storage filled the vessel. It was not made for war. It was made for healing. In the briefing room, she found the other senior medical staff. Dr. Amy Carter sat at the table with her research notes. Chief Nurse Betty Walsh organized supply reports. Dr. Carl Lewis, the ship's surgeon, cleaned his glasses. Commander Burke entered the room. His face was serious. Burke was not a doctor, but he commanded the UES Guardian, the military ship that protected the medical vessel. He was a good soldier who understood that sometimes the best weapon was a helping hand. "I will be direct," Burke said. "We have a problem. Intelligence reports show that the Cathara Syndicate is moving ships toward this system." Dr. Lewis frowned. "The Cathara? What do they want with a medical mission?" "They want to stop it," Burke replied. "The Cathara believe that helping other species is wrong. They think each race should stay separate. They call cross-species medical aid genetic contamination." Amy looked confused. "But we are just helping sick people get better. How is that contamination?" Burke pulled up a holographic display. It showed intelligence reports and intercepted messages. The Cathara have a philosophy called the Purity Doctrine. They believe that each species should remain pure and separate. When we help other species, they see it as making those species weaker and dependent. Lisa felt anger rise in her chest. "So they want sick children to die to keep the races pure?" "That is exactly what they want," Burke said. "And they are willing to kill anyone who gets in their way. Over the past 6 months, they have attacked 12 medical facilities. They target the doctors and nurses first. The room fell silent. Everyone understood what this meant. The Cathara did not just want to stop the medical mission. They wanted to kill everyone involved in it. Betty Walsh spoke first. "How long do we have?" "Their ships will arrive in 18 hours, Burke replied. "I strongly recommend that we evacuate. All medical personnel immediately. The UES Guardian can protect the ship, but not if you are all still aboard." Lisa stood up. "No." Burke looked surprised. "Dr. Martinez, this is not a request. This is for your safety." "And what about their safety?" Lisa pointed toward the medical wards. "We have 300 patients on this ship. Zephyrian children. Adults, elderly. They cannot be moved. The treatment requires specific equipment that only this ship has." Dr. Lewis nodded. "Lisa is right. Moving them now would kill most of them. The stress alone would be too much." Amy looked at her research. "The treatment cycle takes 72 hours minimum. If we stop now, all our work means nothing." Burke's face showed frustration. "I understand your dedication, but you cannot help anyone if you are dead. The Cathara do not take prisoners. They do not negotiate. They shoot first and ask questions." "Never." Lisa walked to the window. Through the thick glass, she could see the planet below. Green and blue swirled together in beautiful patterns. Down there, Zephyrian families waited for news about their loved ones. Parents hoped their children would come home. Children waited for their parents to get better. "Commander Burke," she said, "when I became a doctor, I took an oath. I promised to do no harm and to help those in need. I cannot abandon these patients. I will not abandon them." Jake Townsend's voice came over the communication system. "Dr. Martinez, please return to Medical Bay 2. Your patient is asking for you." Lisa smiled. "The child is awake. That means the treatment is working." She looked at Burke. "I am going. Back to work. You do what you need to do to protect this ship. But I am not leaving." One by one, the other medical staff made the same choice. Amy would continue her research. Dr. Lewis would keep operating. Betty would care for the patients. They all knew the danger, but they also knew their duty. Burke watched them leave. He understood their choice, even if he disagreed with it. These were people who flew across the galaxy to help strangers. They would not change their minds because of threats. As Lisa returned to the medical bay, she found the Zephyrian child. Sitting up, his large eyes looked bright and clear. When he saw her, he smiled and spoke in his own language. Amy translated. "He says thank you. He wants to know if his parents are okay." Lisa checked her patient list. "His parents are in Ward 5. They are getting better too." She looked at the child. "Tell him he will see them soon." As Amy translated, the child's smile grew wider. He reached out with his small webbed hand and touched Lisa's arm. Even without words, the message was clear. "Thank you for not giving up on me." Outside the medical ship, space was quiet and peaceful. But somewhere in the darkness, enemy ships moved closer. The Cathara were coming, and they brought death with them. Lisa did not know about the approaching danger. She was too busy saving lives. But soon, she would learn that some people saw her greatest strength as humanity's greatest weakness. They were about to discover how wrong they were. The attack came without warning. Lisa Martinez was checking on her young patient when the ship shook violently. Emergency lights flashed red, and alarms screamed through the corridors of the UE sanctuary. The Zephyrian child grabbed her hand, with fear in his large eyes. "It's okay," Lisa said, trying to keep her voice calm. "We will keep you safe." But deep down, she knew they were in terrible danger. "Commander," Burke's voice echoed through the ship's communication system. "All hands." Battle stations. We are under attack. Medical personnel, begin emergency evacuation procedures immediately. 3 Cathara destroyers had appeared from nowhere. Their ships were dark and angular, built for one purpose: destroying their enemies. They had been invisible to sensors, hiding behind stealth technology until they were close enough to strike. The first energy blasts hit the UES Sanctuary's hull. The medical ship shook like a toy in a giant's hand. Unlike military vessels, the Sanctuary was not built for battle. It had basic shields and no weapons. It was designed to heal, not to fight. Jake Thompson ran into the medical bay, his face grim. "Doctor, we need to move the patients now. The hull is damaged, and they are targeting the medical sections on purpose." Lisa looked around the bay. 50 Zephyrian patients lay in beds, connected to life support machines. Moving them would be dangerous, but staying was becoming impossible. "Get the emergency medical pods ready," she ordered. "We will transfer the critical patients first." The emergency pods were small, sealed units designed to keep patients alive during ship evacuations. Each pod could support one patient for up to 6 hours. The problem was that the ship only had 30 pods for over 300 patients. Another blast rocked the ship. This time, the lights went out for several seconds. When they came back on, smoke was filling the corridors. Dr. Amy Carter ran in, carrying her research data. "The Kithara are broadcasting a message on all frequencies," she said, breathing hard. "They are telling everyone why they are attacking us." Through the static of damaged communication systems, the Kithara message played. The voice was cold and mechanical, translated by computer from their alien language. "Attention all vessels. The human medical ship UES Sanctuary is spreading genetic contamination by providing aid to inferior species. This contamination weakens the purity of all races and must be stopped. Any species that provides medical aid to other races will be eliminated. This is the will of the Kithara Syndicate." Lisa felt sick. These aliens were attacking them because they helped others. In the Kithara's twisted view, saving lives was a crime that deserved death. "Medical teams, we have a hull breach in Section 7. Jake's voice came over the radio. "I am sealing it now, but we have injured crew members." Lisa wanted to help, but she could not leave her patients. The Zephyrian child was looking at her with trust in his eyes. She had promised to keep him safe. Betty Walsh, the chief nurse, organized the evacuation. Critical patients go first. Children, then elderly, then adults. Her voice was steady, but Lisa could see the fear in her eyes. The U's Guardian, the military ship protecting them, fought back against the Kithara attackers. Commander Burke was doing his best, but his ship was outnumbered 3-1. The Guardian was fast and well armed, but it could not be everywhere at once. "Guardian to Sanctuary," Burke's voice crackled over the radio. "I am launching rescue shuttles. Get your people to the shuttle bays." Lisa helped load patients into the emergency pods. Each pod was small and cramped, barely big enough for one person. The Zephyrian patients were scared and confused. They did not understand why someone would attack a hospital ship. Dr. Lewis worked in surgery, trying to save a Zephyrian adult who had been hurt in the first attack. "I need 10 more minutes," he called out. "We don't have 10 minutes," Betty replied. "The hull is failing." Amy Carter was downloading her research data onto portable drives. Her work on the plague cure was too important to lose. If they survived this attack, other medical teams would need her information to help more Zephyrian colonies. The ship shook again, harder this time. A section of the ceiling collapsed, missing Lisa by inches. The young Zephyrian patient she had been treating was trapped under a piece of metal. "Help me," Lisa called to Jake. Together, they lifted the metal beam. The child was unconscious, but still breathing. They quickly loaded him into one of the last emergency pods. "Dr. Martinez," Amy called out. "The Kithara ships are targeting the rescue shuttles now. They do not want anyone to escape." Through the damaged windows, Lisa could see the horror. Outside, the Guardians' rescue shuttles were under attack. One shuttle, carrying evacuated patients, exploded in a ball of fire. Everyone inside died instantly. Lisa felt rage build inside her. These were not soldiers or warriors dying. These were sick patients and the people trying to help them. The Kithara were murdering innocents on purpose. "We need to get to the emergency section," Jake said. "It has the strongest shields." Lisa looked around the medical bay. They had saved 30 patients in the emergency pods, but over 200 remained. They could not abandon them. "You go," she told Jake. "I am staying with the patients." "Doctor, that is suicide." "Maybe, but it is what I swore to do." Amy suddenly ran toward a damaged section of the ship. "The hull breach is getting bigger. If it reaches the main medical ward, everyone will die." Before anyone could stop her, Amy disappeared into the smoke-filled corridor. Lisa heard the sound of metal scraping against metal, then a loud hiss as emergency seals activated. Amy's voice came over the radio one last time. "Hull breach sealed. The medical ward is safe." Her voice was getting weaker. "Lisa, tell them we kept our oath. Tell them we never stopped trying to help." Then the radio went silent. Lisa felt tears in her eyes, but there was no time to grieve. Amy had given her life to save the patients, and Lisa would not let that sacrifice be meaningless. More Kithara ships appeared on the sensors. 6 destroyers now surrounded the medical ship. The Guardian was damaged and running out of ammunition. Commander Burke had done everything possible, but the odds were too great. "All remaining personnel, abandon ship," Burke ordered. "This is not a request. The sanctuary will be destroyed in minutes." Lisa looked at the patients around her. Some were children, no older than her nephew back on Earth. Others were elderly Zephyrians who had lived long lives but deserved to see their families. Again, all of them trusted her to keep them safe. Jake Thompson appeared beside her, blood running down his face from a head wound. "Doctor, the last shuttle is leaving in 2 minutes. We have to go now." "What about them?" Lisa pointed to the patients. Jake's face was grim. "The shuttle can take 20 more people. We have 200 patients left." Lisa understood. They could save some, but not all. It was an impossible choice, the kind that haunted doctors for the rest of their lives. "Load the children first," she said. "As many as the shuttle can carry." As they worked to move the young patients, Lisa noticed that Jake was moving slowly. His injuries were worse than he had admitted. "Jake, you need medical attention." He shook his head. "Not until everyone else is safe." The final shuttle lifted off, just as the Kithara ships moved in for the killing blow. Through the window, Lisa watched it fly toward the Guardian. Then she saw more Kithara ships decloak, moving to intercept the rescue shuttle. The shuttle exploded before it reached safety. 20 Zephyrian children and 5 human medical staff died in the blast. Lisa felt something break inside her. These monsters were not just attacking a medical ship. They were committing genocide, murdering anyone who dared to help others. Sanctuary's hull cracked like an egg. Emergency force fields activated, creating pockets of breathable air, but the ship was dying. In the remaining medical ward, Lisa and Jake stayed with the patients, who could not be moved. A young Zephyrian girl, barely old enough to walk, reached out to Lisa with her small webbed hand. Lisa took it gently. "Do not be afraid," Lisa whispered. "We are here with you." The last thing Lisa remembered was Jake Thompson, barely conscious from his injuries, looking at her with determination in his eyes. "They killed Amy," he said, his voice filled with pain and anger. "They killed the children. They killed everyone who just wanted to help. Through the damaged hull, they could see the lights of the Guardian in the distance. Commander Burke had survived, but his ship was crippled. The Kithara had won this battle, but as Lisa held the Zephyrian child's hand, she knew this was not over. Somewhere in human space, people would learn about what happened here. They would learn that aliens had attacked doctors and nurses who were trying to save lives. Lisa did not know about the Reaper Protocol. She did not know about the secret weapons that humanity kept hidden. She did not know that this attack would change everything. All she knew was that she had kept her promise. Even at the end, even facing death, she had not abandoned her patients. The Kithara thought they had won. They thought that attacking healers would make humanity afraid to help. Others, they were about to learn how wrong they were. 6 months before the attack on the UES Sanctuary, something secret was happening on Luna Base. Colonel Steve Harrison walked through the underground facility, his footsteps echoing in the metal corridors. The base was hidden beneath the surface of Earth's moon, where no satellites could see it and no spies could find it. Even most government officials did not know it existed. Project Reaper was humanity's most classified program. It was created to answer a simple question: what happens when diplomacy fails and humanity needs absolute force? How are they progressing? Harrison asked Dr. Paul Chun, the project's chief scientist. Dr. Chun looked up from his computer screens. Charts and medical data covered the monitors, showing biological improvements that pushed the limits of human ability, better than expected. The enhancement process is complete for Squad Alpha. They are ready for final testing. Harrison nodded. The Reapers were not ordinary soldiers. They were volunteers from humanity's special forces, enhanced with cutting-edge technology and psychological conditioning. Each Reaper could do things that seemed impossible. They could survive in the vacuum of space for short periods. Their bones were reinforced with carbon fiber composites, making them nearly unbreakable. Their muscles were enhanced with synthetic fibers that doubled their strength. Their brains were modified to process information faster than any normal human could. But the most important change was psychological. The Reapers felt no fear in combat. They showed no mercy to enemies. They never retreated, never surrendered, and never failed their missions. "Show me Squad Alpha," Harrison ordered. They walked to the training facility, a massive underground chamber designed to simulate any combat environment. Inside, 12 figures moved through an obstacle course at incredible speed. Captain Beth Williams led the squad. She had been a Navy SEAL before volunteering for the Reaper program. Now she was something more than human, something designed for war. Beth moved like liquid death through the training course. She leaped 20 feet in the air, landed silently, and moved through a simulated spaceship corridor. Her enhanced reflexes allowed her to dodge laser beams while firing back with perfect accuracy. Behind her, the other Reapers followed. Each one was a master of different skills. Some specialized in demolitions, others in stealth, others in close combat. Together, they could board and capture any enemy ship. "Impressive," Harrison said. "But can they handle the psychological stress of their missions?" Dr. Chong pulled up more data. "The conditioning is holding perfectly. They understand their purpose completely. When humanity's core values are threatened, normal rules do not apply. The Reapers are programmed to use total warfare." Harrison watched as Beth Williams completed the course in record time. She moved to him and saluted. Her eyes were calm and focused, showing no emotion at all. "Colonel Harrison, Squad Alpha is ready for deployment," she reported. "At ease, Captain," Harrison replied. "Tell me, what is your mission?" Beth's answer came without hesitation. "To protect humanity's values through absolute force. When diplomatic solutions fail, we become the final option. We are the sword that guards the shield, and if your targets surrender, if they surrender before committing acts against humanity's core values, they will be spared. If they surrender after such acts, they will face justice. If they refuse to surrender, they will be eliminated. Harrison felt a chill. The Reapers were exactly what humanity needed, but they were also terrifying. They were weapons designed to fight wars where mercy was a luxury humanity could not afford. "Colonel," Dr. Chun said quietly, "we have received word from the Terran Federation Council. They want to know if Project Reaper is ready for deployment." Harrison looked at the 12 enhanced soldiers. Each one had volunteered for this transformation, knowing they would never be completely human again. They had given up their normal lives to become humanity's ultimate protection. Why are they asking now? Harrison wondered. The answer came through a priority: communication from Earth. Admiral Kate Morrison's face appeared on the screen, her expression grim. "Colonel Harrison, we have a situation. The Kithara Syndicate has been attacking medical facilities across 3 sectors. They specifically target doctors and nurses, claiming that cross-species medical aid weakens racial purity." Harrison felt his blood run cold. Attacking medical personnel violated every rule of civilized warfare. It was one of humanity's most sacred values that healers should be protected. "How bad is it?" he asked. Admiral Morrison's face showed barely controlled anger. 12 facilities destroyed. Over 300 medical personnel killed. They are systematically targeting our most compassionate people because they see compassion as weakness. Captain Williams stepped forward. "Admiral, request permission to deploy immediately." Admiral Morrison looked at the enhanced soldier with interest. "Are the Reapers ready?" "Squad Alpha is fully operational," Harrison confirmed. "Squads Beta through Gamma are ready for deployment within 72 hours. Good, because we may need all of them. Intelligence reports suggest the Kithara are planning something big. They want to eliminate all human medical operations in this sector of space." Harrison understood the implications. If the Kithara succeeded, millions of aliens would die from diseases that human medicine could cure. Entire species might be wiped out because humanity was too afraid to help them. "What are our orders?" he asked. Admiral Morrison's expression hardened. "The Federation Council has declared the systematic targeting of medical personnel to be an act of war against all humanity. You are authorized to deploy the Reapers under Protocol 7. Protocol 7 was the most extreme authorization in the Federation military code. It meant total warfare with no restrictions. Enemy military assets would be eliminated completely. No quarter would be given to those who committed crimes against humanity's core values." "Understood, Admiral. How long do we have?" "Intelligence suggests they will strike again within days. We need the Reapers in position immediately." After the communication ended, Harrison turned to Captain Williams. "Captain, prepare your squad for immediate deployment. You will be going to the Kepler 442 system, where human medical ships are operating." Beth nodded. "Rules of engagement: protect the medical personnel at all costs. If the Kithara attack, show them what happens when they threaten humanity's healers." As the Reapers prepared for deployment, Harrison thought about the irony of the situation. Humanity had created the most advanced medical technology in the galaxy. They had ships full of doctors and nurses who would risk their lives to save aliens they had never met. But humanity had also created the Reapers, soldiers so enhanced and conditioned that they barely seemed human anymore. When someone threatened the healers, they would face the shadows cast by that healing light. Dr. Chun approached Harrison with final mission briefings. "Colonel, the psychological profiles show interesting data. The Reapers are most motivated when protecting those who cannot protect themselves. Their enhancement makes them perfect for this type of mission." Harrison nodded. "The Kithara think our compassion makes us weak. They are about to learn that nothing makes humanity more dangerous than threatening those we have sworn to protect. 6 Reaper insertion ships launched from Luna Base under complete secrecy. Each ship carried a squad of enhanced warriors whose existence violated several galactic treaties. But when an enemy targeted healers, treaties became meaningless. Captain Williams stood on the bridge of her ship, looking at the stars. Somewhere out there, human doctors and nurses were treating alien patients, following their oath to do no harm. They had no idea that death was coming for them, but they also had no idea that humanity's ultimate weapons were coming to protect them. ETA to Kepler 442? Beth asked her pilot. 18 hours, Captain. Beth nodded. Good. That should give us time to prepare the insertion. When we arrive, I want every Cathara military asset identified and marked for elimination. The pilot looked nervous. Captain, what if they have civilians on their ships? Beth's enhanced eyes showed no emotion. Our mission is to protect medical personnel by eliminating the threat. Civilians will be warned to evacuate. Anyone who remains with military assets after the warning will be considered hostile. As the Reaper ships traveled toward their destination, a message was sent to all human medical facilities in the sector. It was simple and direct. Continue your mission. Help is coming. The Cathara thought they were hunting healers. They did not know that they had become the hunted. Humanity's most compassionate people were about to be protected by humanity's most terrifying weapons. The Reapers were awake, and they were coming to collect what the Cathara owed. General Vexstar stood in the command center of Mortis Prime, the Cathara Syndicate's most powerful space station. Around him, junior officers reported successful attacks across 3 sectors of space. The general's forearms moved gracefully as he reviewed battle reports on multiple screens. 12 human medical facilities destroyed, reported his aide, Commander Zethka. Over 300 healers eliminated. The contamination has been stopped in this sector. General Vexstar felt satisfaction deep in his chest. The Cathara were tall, thin aliens with gray skin and multiple arms. They believed that each species should remain pure and separate. To them, humans helping other species was the worst kind of contamination. What about the human military response? Vexstar asked. Diplomatic protests and economic sanctions, Zethka replied. Their military ships have taken defensive positions, but have not attacked any of our forces. Vexstar made a sound that was the Cathara equivalent of laughter. Just as expected, the humans are weak. They care too much about other species to fight properly. They would rather negotiate than defend their own people. The command center buzzed with confidence. The Cathara had prepared for this campaign. For months, their stealth ships could appear anywhere without warning. Their weapons were designed to destroy medical facilities quickly and efficiently. General, another officer called out, we have identified the largest concentration of human medical ships. The Kepler 442 system has 3 vessels treating plague victims. Vexstar studied the tactical display. The system showed a medical frigate, a research vessel, and a military escort. Perfect targets for their final strike. Prepare the fleet, he ordered. We will eliminate the medical ships and broadcast the attack across all frequencies. Other species will see what happens to those who accept human contamination. What General Vexstar did not know was that 6 small ships had already entered the Mortis system. They moved silently through space, their stealth technology more advanced than anything the Cathara possessed. These ships carried no medical supplies or diplomatic messages. They carried Death Dot. Captain Beth Williams studied the tactical information on her ship's screens. The Cathara had fortified the Mortis system with 12 space stations, 50 warships, and thousands of personnel. It was their main military base, the heart of their operations. Squad leaders, report status, Beth said into her communication. "Device. Squad Beta ready for insertion," came the first reply. "Squad Gamma in position," came the second. "Squad Delta standing by," came the third. Each Reaper squad had 12 enhanced soldiers. Together, they would assault the most heavily defended system in Cathara space. Against normal enemies, this would be suicide. But the Reapers were not normal soldiers. "Remember the mission parameters," Beth told her teams. "Military targets. Only officers and soldiers involved in attacking medical facilities are primary targets. Maintenance staff and civilians are to be warned and allowed to evacuate." Beth looked at her squad. Each Reaper wore advanced combat armor that could survive in vacuum or atmosphere. Their weapons were designed to cut through ship hulls and enemy armor. Most importantly, their minds were conditioned to feel no fear and show no mercy. "The Cathara think we are weak because we help others," Beth continued. "Today we show them the truth. Nothing is more dangerous than threatening those who heal." The insertion began at 0300 hours, Mortis system time. The Reaper ships moved close to their targets and launched their squads directly into space. The enhanced soldiers flew through vacuum like deadly missiles, their armor protecting them from the cold and radiation. Squad Alpha, led by Beth Williams, targeted Mortis Prime directly. The massive space station was the size of a small city, with thousands of crew members and the most advanced defenses in the Cathara fleet. Beth's team cut through the station's hull like it was paper. Their enhanced strength allowed them to tear through metal with their bare hands. Inside, they moved with inhuman speed and precision. The first Cathara soldiers they encountered never had a chance. The aliens were trained for normal combat, not for fighting enhanced humans who could dodge laser beams and punch through armor plating. Intruders in Section 7 came panicked reports over the Cathara communication system. They are not using conventional weapons. Repeat, these are not normal soldiers. Beth moved through the corridors like a force of nature. Her enhanced reflexes allowed her to process information faster than any normal being. She could see enemy movements before they happened and react accordingly, but the Reapers were not mindless killers. When they encountered maintenance workers and civilian personnel, they gave clear warnings. "Evacuate immediately," Beth commanded in perfect Cathara language. "You have 5 minutes to reach escape pods. Anyone remaining will be considered hostile." Most of the civilians ran. They had heard stories about human soldiers, but they had never seen anything like this. These were not humans anymore. They were something else, something designed for war. Squad Beta attacked the main weapons platform that controlled the system's defenses. Squad Gamma targeted the communications array to prevent calls for help. Squad Delta eliminated the fuel depot that supplied the Cathara fleet. Within 2 hours, the most fortified system in Cathara space was under complete human control. It was not a battle. It was a demonstration of what happened when humanity's ultimate weapons were unleashed. General Vexstar found himself trapped in his command center as Squad Alpha approached. His security forces had been eliminated with surgical precision. Every officer involved in planning attacks on medical facilities was dead. A maintenance staff had evacuated safely, as promised. "What are you?" he demanded as Beth Williams entered the command center. Beth removed her helmet, revealing a human face that showed no emotion at all. Her enhanced eyes studied the alien. General with cold calculation. "We are what you created when you decided our compassion was weakness," she replied in perfect Cathara. "We are the shadows cast by Healer's light. We are Reapers, and we have come to collect what you owe." "General." Vexstar looked around his command center. Bodies of his officers lay everywhere, but he noticed something important. Every corpse wore a military uniform. Not a single civilian had been harmed. "You spared the non-combatants," he said with surprise. "We are not monsters," Beth replied. We eliminate military threats to protect innocent life. Your forces targeted? Healers who were trying to save children. That makes you the monsters. Around the Mortis system, other Reaper squads completed their missions. Every Cathara warship was captured or destroyed. Every weapons platform was eliminated. Every officer involved in the medical facility attacks was dead, but civilian ships were allowed to leave. Maintenance workers were evacuated safely. Medical personnel in the Cathara fleet were actually protected by the Reapers, even though they were enemy aliens. Your military power in this sector is finished, Beth told General Vextar. Your ability to attack medical facilities is eliminated, but you are still alive because you can serve a purpose. The general's forearms trembled with fear and confusion. What purpose? Beth activated a communication device. You are going to send a message to every species in this galaxy. You are going to tell them what happens when someone targets humanity's healers. As Beth prepared the broadcast, she thought about the irony of the situation. The Cathara had attacked medical ships because they thought humanity was weak. They believed that caring about other species made humans vulnerable. Instead, they had awakened humanity's most terrifying aspect. When someone threatened the people humanity had sworn to protect, normal rules no longer applied. Mercy became a luxury that enemies could not afford. The systematic destruction of Cathara. Military power continued for 72 hours. Every base, every ship, every weapons depot was eliminated with mathematical precision. The Reapers moved through space like deadly ghosts, appearing wherever Cathara forces tried to regroup. No military installation was safe. The Reapers could board any ship, no matter how well defended. They could survive in vacuum, cut through any armor, and process tactical information faster than any computer. Most importantly, they never stopped, never tired, and never showed mercy to those who had targeted healers. But they also never harmed innocents. Civilian ships were warned and allowed to escape. Non-military personnel were evacuated before installations were destroyed. Even enemy medical staff were protected, because the Reapers understood the sacred nature of healing. By the end of the third day, the Cathara Syndicate's military power was completely broken. Hundreds of ships were destroyed or captured. Thousands of military officers were dead, but not a single civilian had been harmed by human forces. General Vextar sat in his ruined command center, surrounded by the evidence of humanity's terrible efficiency. Outside his windows, the wreckage of his once mighty fleet drifted in space. The Cathara dream of racial purity had become a nightmare of military defeat. Why did you spare the civilians? He asked Beth Williams. Beth looked at the alien general with her enhanced eyes. Because we are not you. We do not kill healers. We do not murder innocents. We protect them, even when they are our enemies. She activated the communication system one final time. Now you will deliver our message to the galaxy. Tell them what happened here. Tell them what happens when someone targets humanity's M. 3 weeks after the Reaper operations, the galaxy watched in stunned silence as every communication channel carried the same broadcast. It came from the bridge of what had once been the Cathara flagship, now under human control, Captain Beth. Williams stood at the center of the screen, her enhanced features calm and emotionless. Behind her, the surviving Cathara military leadership knelt in restraints. General Vextar was among them, his forearms bound, his proud military bearing. Broken. The message began broadcasting on all frequencies throughout known space. This is Captain Beth Williams of the Terran Federation Reaper Corps, speaking from the former Cathara command vessel. We want every species in this galaxy to understand something fundamental about humanity. Beth paused, letting her words sink. In across 1,000 worlds, we are a species that has made healing our highest calling. Our medics venture into plague zones, war zones, and disaster areas, not for profit or politics, but because we believe every sentient life has value. On Earth, in the rebuilt medical facilities, doctors and nurses stopped their work to watch the broadcast. Many of them had friends who died in the Cathara attacks. They wanted to see justice served. Dr. Lisa Martinez watched from her hospital bed on the U's Guardian. She had survived the attack on the sanctuary, but her injuries were severe. Beside her, Jake Thompson sat in a wheelchair, his own wounds still healing. When the Cathara targeted our healers, Beth continued, they made a critical error. They assumed that because we value life, we are unwilling to take it. They were wrong. Jake squeezed Lisa's hand. Both of them remembered Amy Carter, the young scientist who had died sealing the hull breach. They remembered the Zephyrian children who burned in the rescue shuttle. They remembered all the innocent people who died because someone thought compassion was weakness. There is nothing more dangerous than threatening those who have sworn to preserve life, Beth said, because you force an entire species to choose between their values and their survival. Humanity chooses both. The broadcast continued with Beth presenting evidence of the Cathara's crimes. Detailed records showed attacks on medical facilities across 12 different species. Videos showed Cathara ships deliberately targeting hospitals and rescue shuttles. The evidence was overwhelming and undeniable. The Cathara claimed they were protecting racial purity, Beth explained. In reality, they were committing genocide against anyone who dared to help others. They targeted doctors, treating plague victims. They killed nurses caring for injured children. They destroyed ships carrying medical supplies to disaster areas. General Vexstar looked up at the camera, his alien features showing defeat and shame. 3 weeks ago, he had been the commander of a powerful military force. Now he was a prisoner. His fleet destroyed, his cause revealed as murderous hatred. The systematic targeting of medical personnel is a crime against all sentient life, Beth continued. Therefore, the Cathara military leadership will be turned over to a joint tribunal of the affected species for judgment. This announcement sent shockwaves through the galaxy. The idea of different species working together to judge criminals was revolutionary. But the evidence of Cathara crimes was so clear that even traditional enemies agreed to cooperate. The broadcast then showed something that made every species pause: footage of Reaper operations in the Mortis system. The galaxy watched as enhanced human soldiers moved through Cathara, ships with impossible speed and precision. But they also saw something else. In every operation, civilians were warned and evacuated. Medical personnel were protected, even when they were enemies. The Reapers had eliminated military threats while carefully avoiding harm to innocents. We want every species to understand the choice you face, Beth said, her voice carrying across the stars. You can accept human medical aid and know that our healers are protected by our warriors. Or you can threaten our medical personnel and face the consequences. On the planet Zephyr Prime, the amphibian aliens who had been saved by the UE Sanctuary watched the broadcast with deep emotion. Their children were alive because human doctors had risked their lives to help. Now they understood the price humanity was willing to pay to protect healers. The Zephyrian leader, Prime Speaker Glickstar, issued an immediate statement. The human healers saved our species from extinction. We will defend their medical ships as we would defend our own children. Similar statements came from dozens of species across the galaxy. The Cathara attacks had backfired completely. Instead of making species afraid to accept human help, they had created an alliance dedicated to protecting medical personnel. Back on Earth, Admiral Kate Morrison watched the broadcast from her office. She thought about the decision to deploy the Reapers. It had been a terrible choice, but a necessary one. Sometimes protecting the innocent required terrible weapons. The broadcast continued with Beth explaining humanity's position. Human medical ships will continue their missions. We will treat plague victims, disaster survivors, and war refugees regardless of their species. Anyone who interferes with these humanitarian operations will face immediate retaliation." She paused and looked directly into the camera. "But we also extend an offer of cooperation. Any species that wants to work with human medical teams will be welcomed. Together, we can eliminate diseases, treat injuries, and save lives across the galaxy." The message was clear. Humanity offered both healing and protection. Those who accepted help would be defended. Those who threatened healers would be destroyed. As the broadcast ended, Beth Williams delivered one final warning. "The galaxy has seen what happens when our compassion is threatened. We hope this demonstration will be sufficient. We would prefer to save lives rather than take them. But make no mistake, if you target our healers, the Reapers will come for you." The transmission cut to black, leaving the galaxy to absorb what they had witnessed. In the weeks that followed, not a single attack was made on human medical facilities. Pirates who had once preyed on hospital ships suddenly found other targets. Military forces that had considered humanitarian vessels easy prey thought better of it. New medical partnerships formed between species that had never cooperated before. The threat to healers had created an unprecedented alliance dedicated to preserving life. 6 months later, Jake Thompson returned to active duty as a combat medic. His first assignment was aboard the new UES Sanctuary II, a medical ship even larger than the original. As he walked through the corridors filled with doctors and nurses from a dozen different species, he noticed something new. A small plaque was mounted near the main medical bay. It read, "Protected by Terran Federation Medical Corps. Interference with humanitarian operations will result in Reaper deployment. This is your only warning." Jake smiled grimly. The message was simple and direct. Human medical ships would continue their mission of healing, but they were no longer defenseless. The shadows cast by healers' light would protect them. Dr. Lisa Martinez had recovered from her injuries and returned to work as well. She led a new medical research team studying diseases that affected multiple species. Her work had saved millions of lives across the galaxy. Sometimes she thought about Amy Carter, the young scientist who had died protecting patients on the original sanctuary. Amy's sacrifice had not been forgotten. Her research data had led to cures for 3 different plagues, saving entire species from extinction. The galaxy had learned an important lesson. Humanity's greatest strength was also the source of their most terrifying power. Their compassion made them heal strangers and protect the innocent. But threatening that compassion awakened something far more dangerous. The Reapers remained hidden in their secret bases, waiting for the next time someone made the mistake of targeting healers. They were humanity's ultimate weapon, kept sharp by the knowledge that somewhere in the galaxy, human doctors and nurses were saving lives. The message had been delivered and received. Human medical personnel were under the protection of forces that no enemy could match. The galaxy's healers could continue their work, knowing that the shadows were watching over them. In the end, the Kithara had been right about one thing: humanity's compassion did make them different from other species. But they had been completely wrong about what that meant. Compassion did not make humanity weak. It made them absolutely terrifying to anyone who threatened the innocent. The healers continued their work, and the Reapers stood ready to protect them. That was the human way, to save lives and to destroy anyone who tried to stop them from doing so. The galaxy would not forget this lesson. Ever.